Hi everyone, this is Hui Bun again, and today I will be sharing with you about how you can reassess your roles. And welcome to this session again. So without further ado, let's just start. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm sharing about this because it's something which we might be facing, with regards to COVID-19. So it could be that, for example, with the lockdown, some of the beliefs and some of the ways in which you spend your time and your habits, have changed, and it could cause you to be panicky or confused and lost. So I thought that this might be something we can look into today. So I'm suggesting one method in which you can look and reassess your roles. So it's very simple, just having some questions that you can answer to yourself. First of the questions is, what roles do I play right now? So for you, it could be, for some, you may just have like two or three roles, like for example, a role of a child or a role of a mother or a father, and you are also in a role of, let's say, an employee or an employer, a business owner, a student, a friend, a relative, a mentor, uh, maybe like for me, a counselor, or maybe a teacher, a lecturer. Or if you, for some, it could be that you could put in your role as, like for example, your faith. So maybe you are a role. The role is that you are Christian, or that it's maybe you are a volunteer somewhere, or you can just identify yourself, let's say, as a Singaporean or from somewhere else. So it really depends on you. The roles that you play are related to some of the identifications that you have, some of the identities, and it will not be the same for everyone. So no, you if you can, to write down somewhere to know your various roles as much as you need. So for here, I just give five, but it could be as many as 10 or maybe even 15 or 20. No, because for everybody, um, even for, let's say, the role of a relative or the role of a mother or father, your relationship could be slightly different as well. So, okay, by saying you can just park it all under the same place. So that's the first question. What roles do you play right now? A second question after this is for you to examine what's the function of your role. So, with regards to the earlier question, so if let's say your role is a father or mother, your role could be different for different children. Maybe the first one, it could be that you are a friend or a mentor, and you safeguard, and you are a guardian kind of thing. You play that role. Or for the youngest child, it could be something different. Let's say it's a toddler. Your role might be to feed the child, to dress the child, to teach some of the rules and logics, and the ways of life, to play with the child, and etc. And um, I okay. So if let's say, in your previous role, you are a pet owner, you have a dog or something, then maybe your role is also to feed your dog, walk your dog, play with your dog, kind of thing. And if let's say this is a role of, let's say, a work related role, maybe it will be whatever job functions that you have. So this is something that you can write down. So with respect to every single role that you have, you can write down a function or a various list of functions that you do. So this is number two. Number three, you can go about looking at priorities. So if you, for all the roles that you have listed there, that are in your awareness and you identify with, you can put a number. So like for example, what's your top priority? For some, the top priority is being a parent. or being, let's say, if let's say, it's someone who has parents, then being a child, or it could be the breadwinner, you know, or that business owner, etc., whatever. So if you can look at your list and you can put a number, like first, second, third, fourth kind of thing, beside your roles. Okay? So if you can do that, if you're that's where you are, you can do that right now. Next, after priorities, what we look at? We look at this. What proportion of time or energy is spent on the role? So if let's say you have five different roles and maybe you spend 50% or maybe even 70% of your time as an employee, it could be like that. Or that you spend 40% playing the role of a parent and maybe 30% playing the role of a spouse, maybe a wife or a husband kind of thing. So if you can just write down, think through it and give an estimate of the percentage that you actually spend on the role. So you write the percentage also beside the roles that you had, in what is stated in the first slide. So alongside with the role that you listed, you should have one number, which is the priority number, and this second number, which is a percentage of time or energy that you spent on it. Okay? So right now, if you had followed the instructions through, you should have number one, you have the roles, and number two, the functions of the role. Number three, the priority, which part, whether it's first priority or fifth priority. And number four, you should have a percentage that's put there as well, the proportion of time or energy spent on that role. So what's next? What's next is that you evaluate it. Do the priorities and energy or time spent match up? No. Is it that perhaps for something that it's low priority to you, you are spending an awful amount of time and energy on it? Like maybe third priority is actually taking up like 80% of your resources and your time. Or if let's say you had listed some roles, in the first, the first question which I asked, the first slide, and perhaps that role it's no longer important and no longer something that you spend a lot of time on, then would you want to reconsider whether you still want to take up that role, or is something that you um, resign from, or you change your roles? Or is it that perhaps when you are to look at your list again, maybe you want to spend more time on your top priorities rather than those who have lower priorities? It could also be that, for items that you listed, certain job functions, that they actually have more weight than you thought, then you perhaps want to change the priority for that. And with the list, you can also look into things like uh, what items are no longer useful, or where might you want to reprioritize. Like, for example, perhaps instead of spending just 20 or 30% of your time on your top priority, maybe to increase it to 50%, and maybe to decrease or remove one or two roles that is not actually useful. So this is something which you can actually think about, and during this period of time where you can have some confusion and feeling a bit lost and helpless about the situation, if you are at home with nothing much to do because of the heightened measures of safe distancing, this circuit breaker, or whether it is you're in Singapore or you're overseas, this can be something that you can do as well. And because the world will probably be very different after COVID-19. And might you still want to place the same time and priorities on the same things that you have been doing? Or is it time for change? No. Perhaps you might want to spend more time with maybe your family or your children or your spouse. Something to consider about. Okay? Okay, so I just realized that I didn't manage to get the slides sent over. So maybe this is, I'll do a little recap. First, you look into the roles that you play right now. You can list as many as you want. Two, you look into the functions of the roles that you play. You can write as much as you want, or you can just write a word or two. Third, you can look into your priorities. Put a number beside the role that you play, whether it's a first priority or whether it's a second, third, or fourth or fifth. Fourth thing, write a percentage beside the role that you play to indicate the amount and proportion of time and energy that you spend on the role. And last of all, evaluate. Do the priorities and energy or time spent match up? Are there roles that have lost priority that you are still playing? Okay? So this is all there is for today. Thank you for watching. And I will do another broadcast again on Wednesday. See you then. Bye bye.